Entering the Mayo Experience.
Mayo Experience. Mayo Experience. Mayo Experience. Experience.
Welcome to the Pat Mayo Experience, the Challenge War of the Worlds, episode 11 recap. Joining me in studio, like he always does, it's Paul Shaughnessy. What's up?
How's it going?
Doing all right. If people want to get into a draw for 20 DK bucks, all you need to do is smash the like button for the episode, leave your DraftKings handle in the comment section, and I didn't come up with anything. You got anything?
I guess who's the guy to beat at this point? Heading down the stretch.
Who's the one guy? Who's the one girl to beat?
Yeah, who's in control right now?
I like it. Well, Wes is in control, as we'll see.
Feels like that.
But I have a feeling it's all going to go the other way for Wes here. Let's get into the fantasy. Let's get into the fantasy scoring first. Wes was the high scorer of the episode, 167 points.
Big time.
Good for my team. I feel like I'm way ahead of you now.
You got all the politics points. No, my team just doesn't fucking score.
Yeah, it's tough.
It's been a rough go.
So
I need people just to win the whole thing at this point.
Yeah, I mean that's where I need Turbo to come in because he had the one episode where he scored a ton.
Yep.
And then you need Turbo to win if that's going to be the case. We got Wes at 167, Maddie at 90, D at 82, Kara at 58, George at 55, Polly and Nani, who I wrote down as Mani on my sheet. So probably not Mani. Probably
Auto corrects on my phone to Mani as well.
Does it?
Yeah.
Oh, poor Nani. She's not in the Apple game.
No,
that's tough.
not yet.
You have a Google phone, don't you? An Android?
No, I have an Android, but
Isn't that a Google phone?
I was tweeting or DMing with our boy Rob McIntyre, and it came up Mani like twice when we were talking shop.
Well, Mani or Nani.
Whichever
one it is. She scored 34 points, and we got Devon at 14, Turbo, and Kyle at 6 points.
And then there's a couple other people at like 4. It's just like
Theo scored.
We're getting to the thick of things now. It's like people are scoring nothing at the bottom of this 10 board.
Well, Theo was just in the background.
Yeah, I don't even remember him from the episode.
I think Wes made a comment to him at one point. He's like, "Yeah, we're coming for you."
Yeah, pack your bags is actually what he said. That was pretty good.
I don't think it's gonna happen.
No,
because it's hard to actively go after Theo because he seems like a tough out.
He definitely seems like a tough out. But if we're talking about, George is the best runner in the house, he said that. As in, like, George is to get, obviously putting her into it at the end. It's just like, no, the guy who went to the Olympics is the best runner in the house.
I think they were just trying to differentiate between the male and female competitors.
Of course.
But that seems to be a big theme with Georgia, that she is by far the best runner.
Yeah, I didn't know that about her. And then I looked on her social media, and it's like she runs marathons and stuff.
Well,
she's legit.
Someone said at the beginning of the season that she runs like 10K a day in the house.
Yeah.
Like that's just what she does in the morning. Mm-hmm. So you think she'd be in better shape? Not that she's in bad shape, but like
she's skinny.
Yeah, but she's not like run 10 mile a day skinny.
I think she's in pretty good shape, man. And like that's why she's a significantly better athlete than we thought she would be.
Maybe, but like the way that like Nani looks now, it looks like she runs 10 miles a day, which she does not. I don't think. I think she's like pound sigs.
I think you're underestimating Georgia's
fitness level.
Well,
I'm not underrating her fitness level. I'm just thinking, like all the people that I know that are like significantly like long distance runners.
Are you fat shaming Georgia?
I'm not fat shaming Georgia.
Okay.
I'm just not super like rail thin shaming Georgia.
She's a runner. Runners are thin.
Yeah, but she's not like Nani is way thinner than Georgia is.
I disagree. Wholeheartedly.
Really?
In the comment section, tell people whether you think that sounds like a real toxic discussion.
Yeah, well, let's not get into that. I'm just saying, just by like putting one next to the other, like Nani just looks super thin this year.
She looks thinner, but no, like I think George is significantly.
No.
She's got a thinner frame in general.
Maybe I'm just seeing it. Maybe Nani's just taller, or Mani is just taller. Yeah. Whatever one.
Well, maybe next episode we'll see them matched up against each other. So
so
we'll be able to really see.
Yeah, Nani not running those miles, though, whereas Georgia is.
No.
Nani doesn't seem like... Wes kind of hit it almost directly on the head when he was talking about Nani. It was just like, Nani's social game, very, very good, very average.
She's very good at the voting game, very good at the politics game, very, very mediocre at everything else.
Well, being good at the game itself is huge. Look at that guy on Jeopardy right now. He's very good at buzzing, which is the number one thing you need to be good at. Mm-hmm. He's also very good at betting. He's good at daily doubles, which is really the whole key to the entire thing.
Yep.
If you know you're going to get the daily double right, or you're going to be like 75% to get the daily double, you might as well bet everything. Mm-hmm. Why wait till the end? Just put yourself out into a lead where you don't put yourself in a position to be wrong. And if you are wrong, you have time to come back.
100%.
It's game the rules. So we start off with this like puzzle car challenge. Looked kind of fun. Shocked people weren't better at it. Maybe
Some people were good at it. Some people were absolutely abysmal. Like it seemed very. When we were talking about earlier whether like they make it easier for some people than others, I wonder if it was easier for the girls than.
I think they created.
guys.
I think they created an elimination this week that it didn't necessarily lean towards the female competitors, but it just like balanced the field. Like there was no strength advantage whatsoever.
And frankly, all of the people that you wouldn't consider, I don't know, the smartest people in the house tended to be the ones that struggled with it. The smarter people in the house tended to like just get like ripped through that puzzle like it was nothing.
Yeah, I was kind of surprised, like the strategy some people were taking. I mean, we didn't get to see like the entire run that everyone did, but you saw when Dee was doing hers, like it was very clearly a skull. So once you're able to identify that, and you saw the teeth, like just get that to the bottom and work from there. Like I remember watching Kyle try to do it, just like that was not a part of his game plan whatsoever.
Like Hunter was just like, pieces. I can't smash this.
Yeah, it's tough for him.
Like him, Turbo, like a bunch of the people you would expect to really struggle. But Turbo's supposed to be good at puzzles, though. He completely shit the bed from the looks of it.
Well, he was good.
They didn't show us very
he was
much
good at
of
the puzzle
his.
like the first time around that we saw it. Maybe
Yeah.
this is just the slider puzzle is not his forte.
I think like leading into this, you kind of buried the lead, though. Turbo's excitement about the car challenge and cars in general. I have a little quote here. And you know this will bring us back to reading with Paul.
Okay.
And this may actually may actually work out better than the past because his English is so broken
That it's
that when I
you
read
can cover up
it may sound-
misreading.
He goes, "This car looks amazing. I love it. I love it. Let's start. I want to live this experience."
I like that he's on the challenge for the experience.
I think I sent you the picture of him. He's pointing at the camera.
Oh, yeah,
It says,
he-
"I want to live this experience." It's like, how can you dislike Turbo?
I feel like that's the part that kind of gets overlooked about the challenge now. That was always such a big part of it, like 10 years ago or whatever it was. And like what they do now is far more extreme than usual. But that a lot of these people, yeah, now there's like a 750 grand up for grabs. But before there wasn't. It was like, hey, let's go to Mexico. We'll do some cool shit.
Yeah, we're gonna party. We're gonna drink. We're gonna fight a little bit. It's gonna be good.
We're gonna bungee jump. It's gonna be fucking awesome. Like the challenges they do now, I like that they're like intense. I'd like to see them scale back just a little bit. Maybe have like 2 or 3 super intense ones per year, and then have like some fun ones that people seem to enjoy to do. So we're out of that. Like the trivia challenge is the closest thing that we get to like having fun, and we haven't had like a legit trivia challenge yet this year.
Yeah, people did seem to really enjoy this one though.
It looked fun.
Like everyone except for Davon, who when she was looking at, she was like, they did a nice little cut of the guy driving the car, and she's just like, everyone's just like, oh, I trust this guy driving the car, and she's like, no way, like. She's like, I don't know your ass. Like she said something like that. It's just like that was awesome. It's like it's a very valid concern. Like you're strapped into this thing, but like if this guy just rolls this car over in the middle of the desert, like what happens then?
Well,
like they had a little roller on the top of it, but like that did not look the most safe. I will say that.
I would think it's pretty tested.
Sure, but like it sounds like these people sign their lives over.
Oh, they do.
To go on it. Like, you can't sue afterwards. So if this car flips over, you end up, who knows? Thank God nothing happened. But
Yeah, well, we've seen.
I think Davon had some pretty valid concerns there. I would be a little bit concerned. Who is this guy driving this desert buggy and whipping it around like crazy? Like, I don't know. A little sketchy.
So we get to the point where Theo actually does quite well at this. Kara does quite well at it. Pauly does quite well at it, but they don't get into the tribunal. It's Wes, Maddie, and Dee. Good showing for Maddie, by the way. Getting like a puzzle win.
And she crushed it.
Yeah, like she destroyed everyone.
Yeah. You're kind of onto the right thing. It's just like if they can get rid of Georgia, like if she can go to the finals against like Dee and like Nani, that would probably be her best. Or Dee or Nani, Devon, like get rid of like the runners and the athletes in Ninja and Georgia. Like Maddie can beat those others, I think.
Maybe, unless it becomes a running competition.
Yeah, but I think she can maybe even
She
outrun like that. She
Yeah.
can probably just outgrind those others, right? She may lose a little bit in like the running challenge, but like she'll make up for it somewhere else. Like those other competitors aren't great. It would be Ninja and Georgia, the running, with that I would imagine those two are able to do, that would cause Maddie the biggest problems in the final.
Unless Kara has just been like working
Oh,
cardio.
Kara too. I'm
But
forgetting about her.
generally she's just not like she hasn't done really well in like the long distance running.
Yeah, she's not great, but she's definitely on a different
fine.
level than those other
Yeah.
the scrubbier ones, I would say. At this
that we
point
have
in the
left.
game.
Yeah. So we get into the tribunal. It's, like I said, Wes, Maddie, and D.
Wes is Angels.
Good. Wes's Angels. Good luck for D. She needed this because
Mm-hmm.
she probably would have been thrown in.
Great look for Wes. This is like the perfect storm. His old partner, who he has pretty much full control over. Maddie, he seems to get along with. He was really pumping her tires last week, saying that she was the best new addition to the show.
I wonder
Just in
if
terms of,
that
like,
was filmed after this.
maybe.
Like that was from like the end of the season. Like, hey, what do you remember from here?
Yeah, it could have been for sure. It's just like the fact that she's like really big, really physical. She likes hooking up. They're showing like hooking up with like Kyle and stuff like that. And like she's pretty smart. She's good at puzzles and stuff. Just like she does seem like a very worthy competitor.
Oh, absolutely. Like we're gonna see a ton of Maddie. It
Yeah.
feels like over the next few seasons.
Yeah, for sure.
And she's very likable too.
Yeah, no, I like her.
Like
I like her. I was arguing with our boy Rob again. I was talking about like I have Ninja on my team. It's just like get her off the screen. Like
I have her
I
on my
call
team,
her
too.
Crinja. Get Crinja off my screen. Like I'm sure she's a great athlete. She was good on American Ninja Warrior, and like she's on my team. I want to cheer for her, but it's just like she's not cut out for the show. Like I don't watch the show for what she brings to it.
Yeah.
I like Maddie because I think she has a good balance. You know, she may not be the most interesting character, but she's into things and she's like, she's into the drama a little bit and she seems pretty easygoing. Ninja is just like, everything just feels too serious. Like,
Yeah, she's there to compete, except for that one time she told, I believe it was Ash, to calm his tits.
Yeah.
Whoever that was fantastic.
Yeah,
I've been starting to use that in my day-to-day life.
that was
now.
like her lone great moment in my
but
books.
but Maddie's coming from a show called Party Down South. Like, let's go.
It's true. It's exactly.
She gets it.
They may have to like I've never watched that show before, but maybe they're onto something. Maybe they found a show in the little whatever
Yeah, I mean,
that they can go to.
Rob's boy, totally forget Gus, the Gus bus.
Florida-Bama Shore.
You feel like there must be someone else from that.
Oh, definitely. There's so many shows like I can't like now that they're like bringing in all these new characters and stuff. I can't even imagine. Like I've never heard of half of these like reality TV shows, and like we do a reality TV pod. Like I don't know who these people are, where the shows are coming from. Like it's pretty absurd how many of these shows there are.
Well, I think the challenge, the demographics for the challenge and the people who watch it, because it's been on so long, it's a lot like, I don't even think Survivor falls into this a lot, just because a lot of old people watch Survivor, because it was the original reality show. But the challenge seems to have kept enough people our age, like mid-30s, and then even people who are in like their early 40s who are just like, hey, I watch The Real World, I watch the challenge, it's just a part of my routine. Plus, they get all like the 18 to 25s who they're watching MTV. This is fun. And then I sound like the woman from Austin Powers. Oh, it's candy. This is fun. But like the Florida-Bama Shores, like that's just not our demographic whatsoever. Like, how are we going to stumble upon these shows?
We are entirely too old to be watching most of those shows anymore.
I agree.
The challenge is a little bit better because at least
It's a competition show.
they're
too.
like 26 to 20. Like still, I'm
CT
dating myself a little bit here.
CT's older than me.
Yeah, exactly. CT, Wes, like Wes is around our age, I believe. Banana's a little bit older, so like they're still in our demographic. But like, yeah, you get into those Florida-Bama Shore and some of these other ones, like you have like 19-year-olds.
Yeah, it's like 22-year-olds.
And
Like,
it's just
I have no time.
It's
to
hard
say
for me
more.
to relate at this point.
Listen, I could have related up until like 6 months ago. I could have went out. I could have went partying. Nah, I got this kid, and I can't fucking do anything.
You're
Just-
all you're all haggard.
I'm just at home watching Real Housewives with my wife. That's the reality TV.
living your best life.
Yeah, I'm at home. We're watching the challenge every now and then. We have to watch the Real Housewives because she loves that. And then these stupid like house flipping shows, which are just fucking terrible.
I've watched those with my mother.
They're brutal.
She loves them.
My wife loves them. She also loves the tiny home shows. I still can't figure out why anyone would ever live in a fucking tiny home.
You know, those shows really just roll into each other.
Oh,
though.
absolutely.
Like you can
They're
get
just
lost
on
and
all
it's
day
just,
long.
It's just like one rolls into another, and like all of a sudden you're like, I've been watching this dog shit for 2 hours, and like what have I gained from this? Be like, oh, it's $140,000 to buy a house in Las Vegas. It's just like, why the hell do I live in Toronto?
Yeah.
Of all places on earth.
Well, that thing came out this morning, the global housing index of like the most expensive cities in the world to live in.
Toronto's got to be top 5, top 10 at least.
Toronto was 12.
Okay.
In most expensive. Vancouver was 3rd.
Yeah,
But
wow.
but it's funny, like you put it out there. I believe
On top of that, like Vancouver, like the gas is like another like 25, 30 cents a liter
really.
than what it is here. Like it's absurd.
I didn't
Like,
realize that.
They get screwed over there. Like it's expensive to live in BC
Yeah,
in general.
I know. I know we're just talking Canadian cities, but it was Vancouver, Toronto, Montreal. They were all inside the top 25. But like everyone was just like, oh, I think someone from like Sydney hit me. I was like, I can't believe Sydney's not number 1. It's like you think it's expensive to live. Like it's super expensive to live in Toronto. I used to live in Manhattan.
Yeah.
Very super expensive to live in Manhattan.
Yeah.
Turns out living in like Hong Kong, far more outrageous. Like living in Singapore, far more outrageous. So if you think you got it bad, if you don't live in like one of those cities, it's not so. It's not horrible.
Where was like London?
London was like top 5. London, New York,
Yeah, the ones that you would expect. London, New York, LA.
Shanghai, not LA, because LA is so like sprawling.
True. There's certain neighborhoods in LA that
Yeah,
would
but
be-
it's an overall. I mean, it's no different than anywhere, though. I mean,
Yeah.
like when they do New York, it's New York City, not Manhattan.
True.
If it was Manhattan, it would probably be number 1.
Yeah, of course.
So you get that sprawl. It's like even with us here, like if you live in downtown Toronto, it said like the average price of a house in Toronto in US dollars was like $575,000. But
That's for a dog shit house, and like in that downtown Toronto,
you can't buy a house for that
You
much
can't
in
buy
downtown
that, no.
Toronto. But that's also including like suburbs.
Yeah,
you know what I mean?
Scarborough,
In, like,
and
the
like
shitty
the Rouge Hill, which is just like borderline Pickering, and everyone's learning a whole bunch about the GTA here, and I'm sure they're not very all that interested.
No, of course not. So, do you like Wes's move here? He gets those two on the same page with him,
Yes,
and then they have to figure
Wes
out.
was in full control.
They have to, but he's up next week, so they're fine for 2 eliminations.
Yeah.
So you get them on your side, and then you try to make the deal with either they put in Kara, they put in Georgia
and Devon.
and they put in Devon. Are you surprised that Georgia and Devon don't end up making the deal with them? Because it seems like
Georgia's absolutely like that was flabbergasting. So stupid. What are you doing? Like you literally just put a target. And again, she sent herself into the elimination from doing it. And listen, you're dealing with Wes. You don't have to like live by your word. You don't have to be honest. You say yes, I'm not going to put you in next week. If you get to the next week and, you know, it's shaking out in a way that you don't have to put him in, then you can fulfill the deal that you made with Wes. This is Wes. Wes is going to screw you over at some point.
Yeah.
Say yes, save your ass this week. Next week, maybe you end up throwing him in. Maybe you end up breaking that bond with Wes. You didn't really have a strong bond with Wes anyway. So, like, what's the point in being honest at this point? Wes has even been the guy talking about how things start getting sketchy at this point in the game. Like, he knows that someone's going to screw him over. He just was looking for somebody else that he could control at this point in the game because there's not many people left. If you can control like 3 or 4 of the final like 6 girls, like you're laughing.
And it's huge too. Like Wes has to get screwed over at some point solely because he is basically in an alliance with every single person left.
Yeah.
Outside of like 3 of them.
No, him and Paulie is not really an alliance. I thought it was outrageous early when Paulie was talking about like, oh, I can't trust Wes. Just like, Paulie, you were flat out hinting at like calling him out like a week ago. How do you think, like, is there any way that Wes actually thinks that you're on his side at this point? Because you've made it very clear that you're not on his side.
Well, we had the thing at the very beginning, like 2-3 weeks ago, where Turbo and Paulie were like, let's do this. Like, we're an alliance. That kind of, I don't know if it's went away. It just hasn't been brought up again.
Yeah.
So I feel like that's going to come through at some point. I don't think Paulie's making it all the way. I think he's the one who gets screwed in all this. I think he's
Could.
gone next week.
You could.
Although we might not get it next week because we have an elimination at the beginning.
Yeah, it'll be interesting to see.
So
Yeah, hopefully they kind of wrap up next week's episode. I don't like these hangover.
This is the first one we've
cliffhangers.
got.
I know, so I'll let it slide this week. But like I like a proper conclusion.
Yeah.
We come onto this desk. I want results and strategy moving forward.
And it hurts the fantasy points for the people going forward, too. Like,
course.
I have Georgia on my team. I could use her to win another elimination. That'd be fine.
Mm-hmm.
She already has 55 points. Vault her up to like
Yeah.
85.
Who do you think she's calling out?
Nani.
Yeah, It's got to be Nani.
It's Nani, Devon, Kara.
We've really got a lot of Nani screen
Ninja.
time that last episode too.
There is the outside chance that she calls out Ninja and just goes head to head with Ninja. Because the way that she was talking, it sounded like she was going to call out someone good, and that would lead you to believe that she's going to call out Kara. But I think she might call out Ninja.
Maybe.
I don't know if that'd be a good. I think you need to look at what, like, I didn't really get a sense of what the elimination might be.
Yeah, I didn't really either.
But maybe she has a sense of like, oh, this is something I can beat Ninja in.
Yeah, maybe.
I think it's a terrible idea. I'd be calling it Devon
it's like
100% of the time.
Yeah, I don't know. Yeah.
The only thing that would have me hesitant.
Ninja's small though, so yeah, maybe it's a it looks more like a physical challenge, and she'd be like,
I don't know about that. I don't know if she's just jacked.
she is jacked, but she's
Like,
shorter and
But
smaller.
like Kara's not big either, but she's also jacked.
True. Like you think about the wind tunnel. Georgia does not hold up in like the wind tunnel because she's like 100 pounds.
If it's physical and that's the route that she thinks it's going, you have to call out Nani.
Yeah.
Because she's probably
Or Devon, but
Devon at least looks like she has some strength.
they're at least friends. But like
Are they?
Devon talked like that was bad. Devon gave you bad advice. You
Well, of course, it
followed
saved her ass.
And it
It was
screwed
good advice from Devon's
Yeah,
part.
I know, but like you can't trust Devon like that. Devon just showed her card. She is not Team Georgia. Poor Georgia, just getting run through the ringer by everybody in this game.
Yeah, well, when you team up with Bear, that's what's going to happen with you.
This is true.
The British Alliance really went down the tubes pretty quickly.
Yeah.
So Theo and Georgia are the last two standing. And like I really feel like no one wants anything to do. Someone might try to make a stand against Theo next week, or maybe he's the one who gets called in.
Yeah.
I don't see a player on the board who maybe Turbo.
Turbo scares me.
Turbo would scare me, but if I'm Theo, I'm calling out whoever. And if like whoever is the one, like
It's obviously always dependent. Like if it was like that little ring challenge, you're holding onto the rings and stuff, and it's like Hunter.
Maybe.
Hunter could totally beat Theo and that type of thing just because he's so small, stocky, strong.
But if Theo has like legit strength, which I assume that he
Yeah.
does, that extra leverage would really go a long way.
For sure.
Because like CT,
I'm just saying of people who have a chance.
CT should have won the ring challenge. It's just two guys were working against him at once.
Yeah.
And Kyle's not like small, and that other dude JP wasn't small either.
No.
Who are you voting in next week? Paul, you're standing on the killing floor.
I'm getting fucking rid of Wes.
You have to.
I don't want Wes fucking controlling. If I'm in that game right now, I don't want Wes controlling this game anymore because I know where this is leading. And it's leading to Wes getting himself to a final and not having to do any sort of dirty work. I am throwing in Wes and hopefully trying to use someone like Theo to just get rid of Wes.
Here's the weird thing. Wes has either performed really well in the daily challenges or he's been like dog shit in the daily challenges. I don't know how equipped he is for a final.
I know.
Like I thinking like if all like
You don't save Wes though. You don't save. This guy's got too much history. You can't save him and be like, oh, that's kind of like a layup going to a final. It's just
there's
like,
no one-
you can't trust in that.
there's no one who's a real layup, but Kyle's probably the worst.
Yeah.
Like if we're thinking like from a finals perspective, Kyle's probably the worst of everyone who's left. Then like Hunter and West just do different things well. Mm-hmm. That I don't know. It's between those two. Like I wouldn't want to run like that's why I think they actively go against Pauly. Pauly is very well rounded. And he's annoying, and people don't seem to like him and Kara.
Pauly and Kara are like that annoying couple that are just like way too clingy, way too like all over each other. It's
How
just
in
like,
love can you really be if you have to tell everyone you're in love every 2 seconds? Like, come
agree.
on. Like that's real phony.
it's awful. Honestly, like
And I think it annoys
I think
everyone
you can
else.
start to see it. Just like I was talking shit about Crinja, and then there's Pauly and Kara. It's like I actually actively like hate my team.
Yeah, you picked everyone you don't like.
I didn't know how much I disliked them, but it's just like as the season goes on, it's just like I really like Kyle. I like Turbo, just like for his like foreign excitement. Obviously Hunter is very unlikable. I'm liking what Wes is doing in this show, but it's like I'm actually
Well,
pretty against most of the people on my squad, so it's been a little bit rough.
Well, Wes is essentially just actively taken over the Johnny Bananas role of the season, where he's just producing the show by being on the show.
Oh, did you see that they're on Maury Povich?
Yeah, I don't know why though. Did they have some sort of dispute
It's
over
May 9th or something?
But did they have some sort of dispute where like there's a child out there, but they might be the fathers of it? Like what else does Maury do?
I don't know why they would be on there, but they're talking about like sabotaging each other's lives and like one person being obsessed with the other, and they're both claiming that they're both obsessed with each other. It just looks like fun. I'm gonna be. Hopefully it'll like I'm not sitting around watching Maury Povich.
You'll watch a YouTube clip.
I'll watch it. I will watch the shit. I'm sure our boy Rob will
link us up.
We'll hook us up with something like that.
They're real life. I don't think they're real life friends, but I don't think there's actually any animosity.
No, I think they're
good for each other.
They're in on the gimmick together at this point.
Yeah, they have to be a team here coming up at some point.
Yeah.
Like the next time Wes is available to come back, you gear the season to make it Rivals 4 or something like that, or come up with some sort of thing. I know I think they threw this out when I had Derek on the show like last year. Mm-hmm. We were talking about like different formats that you could do. I like his angle of like go on with your best friend and you're a team. It would just be nice to have like people don't need to be like you can be at odds together against people.
Yeah.
But just to see people constantly bickering when you're on the same team it's fun for a while. Let's swing it back the other way.
Yeah.
Like I was watching the Inferno 2. Rob's show, The Challenge Chronicles. They're currently doing Inferno 2. So I went back and watched the entire season. One of my favorite seasons of The Challenge. You have the good guys and you have the bad guys. Those are the two teams. And like, there's infighting on the team, but like 90% of the team is on the same page. It's pretty good. And it makes like the in-house a lot more fun too, instead of just people being like at each other's throats the entire time. There's times for that, but there's also times for fun. And I miss the fun.
You know what was funny this week? I really took notice of it. This is an extra thing. It wasn't even a note.
Not even on your sheet.
My sheet.
That's big font.
Yeah, just you know me with reading. When they went to the bar, like them as a production person, just being able to watch it, seeing them like they were filtering in like crowd noise. Like that there were other people there, but then when they do any of the shots, you see that like this entire bar has just been shut down and there's not even production crew or anything else. Like the only people in that bar were them, and they were sitting at like two separate tables and the entire place was empty, but like they're filtering in like bar sounds and like making it seem like it's busy in there.
Oh, of course. Like even the music that's playing in there, like naturally, is probably like turned down.
Yeah.
Just so you can. And there's probably hidden mics everywhere.
But it's like they probably had so many issues in the past of like back in the real world days.
That was also a part of the real world, though, to see how you would interact
going out
with the
into the
public.
real world.
But I remember on Cutthroat when they were in like Czech Republic and Bananas got thrown down a flight of stairs by some dude at the bar.
Exactly. Like they've run into so many issues, I imagine, that this is just the safe way to do it. But I would like to see them like hook up with like randoms and bring people back to the compound. That'd be cool.
Yeah, it's not going to happen.
No,
the challenge has never really been like that.
Real world is different.
Real
obviously,
world's way
'cause you're
different in
on
that
your own.
sense.
Yeah.
All right, so who do you think goes in? Georgia calls out who?
Georgia calls out Nani
Nani. I think Nani's the heavy favorite in that one. Maybe Ninja.
to be called in.
Just get rid of Ninja now.
And then depending on the challenge, but like I would be leaning Georgia to beat. The one thing about Georgia I'm not sure about though
I would
is like
lean Georgia
since
to
Bear left, like I don't know,
Her
she may be a
desire.
broken woman.
I don't know. I feel like she beats Nani pretty handily.
I think she should be able to, yes.
I guess it depends on what it is. If
Yeah.
it's like a cosmetics competition. I think that's what Nani does for a living.
Her cousin was the one with the crazy.
She does that
makeup
on like Instagram now.
Yeah.
Tons of followers.
Yeah.
Telling you, if you're good at one thing and decent at production and lighting, you make $1 billion on YouTube. Mm-hmm. Wish I was better at it. Mm-hmm. Make very marginal money off YouTube. Here we are. Anyway, Paul Shaughnessy. Well, you hit this last week. You hit an underdog in the UFC event. Who's the pick this week for UFC?
Oh geez.
In the main event, who's facing who?
Main event, it's
Overeem,
Alistair
right?
Overeem versus Alexei Oleinik. We're in Russia though, St. Petersburg, Russia. Last time they were in Russia, Oleinik happened to also be as the main event in the card. The day of the fight, a whole ton of money came in on Oleinik to beat Mark Hunt. And then sure enough, Oleinik gets a first round finish. We're in Russia, people. Crazy things happen. I think Alistair Overeem should absolutely roll over top of this guy. But like, we're in Russia. Weird shit happens in Russia. There's a long history of crazy shit happening over there. So I like Overeem. I like Overeem inside the distance. He's like a minus 250 favorite though, so it's like it's a tough
just
tough
kind of
spot
a
to make
stay
money.
away.
Cody's underdog of the week was somebody by the name of Rafael Fiziev. He was like plus 135 when we did the show earlier in the week. I think now he's around a pick'em.
Okay.
So that would be
He's getting juice.
he like Cody's like, oh, that's not gonna stay like that. So I immediately went to my book and dropped it at plus 138. I hammered that line, but like now it's at like minus 110 on both sides. Probably still a decent bet. That's probably the best play on the board.
All right. You can watch the entire UFC St. Petersburg DraftKings show up on the DraftKings YouTube channel and on the Pat Mayo Experience feed. And follow Paul on Twitter at Paul Shag. You can follow me on Twitter, Facebook, and the Instagrams at the PME. Subscribe to the Pat Mayo Experience on iTunes, on Spotify, on Stitcher, wherever you can download podcasts. And remember, smash the like button, leave your DraftKings handle in the comment section, and tell me your favorite of all the competitors who are left. Favorite guy, favorite girl, best chance to win a final. That was episode 11 of The Challenge, War of the Worlds. I'm Pat Mayo. I'll see you next time.
Pat Mayo Experience! Experience!